Welcome to Hockey on Tap podcast, episode 141, technically season 5, episode 1. I am building your host. I'm here with my two co-hosts, Little Steve and Shorts Guy, Schwims Off Bacon Brownies. We are brought to you by Primetime Radio, courtesy of Sam Wu. You can find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Apple, and Google Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. I haven't done this promo, this start in a little bit, so I'm trying to remember everything we had to go through. But please leave us a 5-star review if you'd be so kind. Gentlemen, what are we drinking? Welcome back beers.
Yeah.
And how fitting that I have a Dogfish Head beer that we got down when we did the Dogfish Dash. Jeez, was that last weekend? No, not this past weekend. Weekend before then.
Yeah,
it's a week ago.
A week ago now.
Yeah, another successful Dogfish Dash by your Hockey on Tap crew, -1.
Yeah, I'm too fat to run.
Will not be named. But yeah, I brought home this Boda Goza.
It is very tasty.
It is, Goza style ale brewed with sea salt, pink peppercorn with cherry juice and guava.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
I will enjoy.
So I'm going to go with
come over.
Yeah, it's actually very tasty. I enjoyed it. I had a couple cans when we were down there because it was at the house. So I am also having a Dogfish Head beer as well because I needed a new keg for my kegerator, and out of my off-center society glass.
Ooh, there it is.
60-minute, which I have on top of my house. Yep, love it. And by the way, speaking of off-center society, Stephen, look what I found on my desk that I podcast from.
There it is.
I found my card.
I know exactly where mine was too.
Right where I left it. What do you got, Dean?
So I'm going with Bolero Snort in collaboration with Secker Farms. It's Donut You Forget About Me. It's a baked apple cider donut sour. It's got apple, cinnamon, and locally sourced apple cider donuts cooked into it. So brewed into it.
I'll bet it has lactose.
No, it does not. Well, actually, so we were talking about this. We don't technically know that it has or does not have lactose because it's locally sourced donuts that who knows what the ingredients are. So could have lactose, could not have lactose. Because I don't think apple cider donuts, you don't necessarily need milk to make for the.
I think there's eggs.
There's got to be eggs or butter. Butter too.
Yeah, and donuts, like all donuts, traditionally.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they're vegan donuts, and I'm enjoying a vegan donut.
I doubt you are, because I think it was Bolero Snort where I saw that guy being interviewed on TV, and he had a lactose hat.
Oh, it sure was.
He had a lactose hat.
He did. He had a lactose hat.
I never heard that one. That's pretty funny. I mean, not funny, but like the fact that someone has just a hat that says lactose is pretty interesting.
I'm going to try to find that hat for Steven because I know he'll wear it.
Yeah, I'd love it.
And then Steven, and then you can walk around going, "Hey, time for lactose."
Yeah.
Oh, man, I missed this podcast. I missed you guys being on here talking hockey. But pretty cool. Season is right around the corner, less than 2 weeks. I think the 16th is the official, it would be 2 weeks exactly. I'm trying to remember who is the first team of the 2023 season.
We start the 12th.
You guys actually have a game on the 12th?
Yeah, it's before the 16th.
Oh, no, that's right. It is. It's the 10th. Yeah, sorry. It's the 10th. So the 10th starts the start of the year. I don't know. I was saying 16th. Oh, it's the Rangers home opener 16th. Predators Lightning is at 5:30, and Schwimm's not here to opine about and cry and moan and begrudge his team missing their best player. But Steven, your Blackhawks and the Penguins facing each other.
My Blackhawks.
Yep, and then Kraken Golden Knights are the night game, 10:30. Golden Knights raise the banner for their Stanley Cup championship. Kraken get to take the first shot at the champs. 3 pretty decent games. I think the Blackhawks, especially, they're potting Bedard versus Crosby in his first ever game it's good to at least see him on national television right away. He's been ridiculous
Of
this
course,
season.
we're going to see him on national television right away.
Well,
there's no way they weren't going to
immediately,
put him on national television.
Yeah, true. All right, so let's get to what's on tap for today's episode. Here's our week of snapshot. We talked about it. Start of the season coming up. It's going to be a fun. I mean, we've kind of, we did the draft show. We did free agency. There's been some other moves. All right, let's get to one of the big ones, and that would be the parting ways of the Columbus Blue Jackets and their head coach, Mike Babcock. The guy is a piece of dog poo. And he, what he did to those young players, which, there's been rumors of exactly what happened. But I guess my question to you guys is, and we know how bad of a coach he is, we're happy he's not in the league. And it's a black eye right now on Columbus. But my question to you guys is, how does that locker room recoup from what I kind of see as a little bit of a rift, right? You have the older vets, you have Boone Jenner and Gaudreau, who were okay with what happened. I mean, they have families, they have kids, they're showing photos of that to Babcock. Meanwhile, the younger kids, I think there's some 19, 20-year-olds in this camp, and maybe they had some photos that they didn't want to share with the coach, who just demanded their phone and put it up on top of a projector for whoever was in the room to see. What do you think that rift is going to be? Is that something that's going to be an issue throughout the season, or maybe it's not an issue at all?
I don't think it's going to be an issue, because I think there's some confusion as to exactly what went on. I don't think that there was like some projector with photos shared. It was basically Babcock inviting them over for lunch, dinner, whatever, and just demanding he see their phone, and just rifling through whatever the heck he wanted to. And I actually do think that probably with these older vets like Boone Jenner and Johnny Gaudreau, that it probably was just an innocent consensual sharing of family pictures, and that's probably what they were assuming was happening on the other end. And this isn't the first time either. Like he's done this where he's come from before. So I think that I think it's over and done with the vets and the young guys. And I think the vets, it's however they're handling it in the locker room, it's going to be handled, and I think they'll get over it. But I think as far as a media standpoint goes, like we kind of got to get over it too. Like stop bringing it up, especially we're not journalists. We don't talk to the players or anything. But I think stop bringing it up to the players. Like let them get over it and get through it. And I think it'll be fine. But good riddance to this guy. I mean, he's a predator, and he preys on these young players, and it's an extraordinary. These are kids. They're 18, 19 years old, and he's. I don't know. I don't want to get into like all of it and how angry it makes me, but yeah, just good riddance. And I can't imagine he's ever going to have a job in the NHL ever again. He shouldn't. But yeah, I think the locker room is gonna get past, and I think they'll be fine. I don't think they're gonna be a good team, but I think they'll be fine as far as this goes.
Shorts.
Yeah. No, I kind of feel something similar. I mean, personally, if someone said, "Hey, give me your phone," start rifling through it, I wouldn't be thrilled. That's just my personality, and I'd be pretty pissed off, and I'm older than some of these vets that were okay with it. So
yeah,
but I think Steven's right. I think we're making a big deal out of it, and I feel like Columbus probably dodged a bullet, because he was going to shoot himself in the foot at some point, and it couldn't have actually happened
now.
That's what I was just going to say. It couldn't happen
before the off season really even starts.
It couldn't have happened at a better time for them, and now they had plenty of time to find a replacement to move forward. I think the locker room will be fine. I'm sure there were some that were not thrilled playing for him. There may have been some that were into it, but he was going to do something to screw it up, and now we're going to see a future KHL coach if he ever wants to coach again, because that's about the only league that'll probably have him at this point.
And Pascal Vincent,
he's still getting paid, so he doesn't even need to go coach in the KHL.
And does he still get paid from Toronto at this point too? As well.
Oh, he got. Well, I think he's officially done with Toronto.
Yeah, that's right. That's why they didn't sign him earlier. Yeah.
That's why he got this contract. But they get their money. He's going to get his money. So he's either a genius where he just signs these contracts with these teams to coach and immediately gets fired, but collects all of his money, or a true scumbag, or maybe a combination of both. Who knows? But
Yeah.
Probably a
Pascal
combo of
Vincent.
both.
Yeah, Pascal Vincent, who filled in for, or is now going to fill in as head coach of Columbus. He's been in coaching since 1999 with the QMJHL. He's been with Winnipeg. He's been with Columbus. He's been with a couple other teams, and he finally gets a shot, and it's good. I mean, to see a guy like that get into the old boys club for hockey, a new name, a new face, which unfortunately they don't really have many new names and new faces. It's a bunch of retreads, as we all know. All right, so I wanted to go through a couple other signings. Zuccarello re-signed with Minnesota 2 years. Foligno gets a 4x4 extension with Minnesota, another capstrap team that, I don't know. Marcus Foligno's a good player. I don't know if you want to sign him for 4 years, but
got $4 million.
He had $4 million too. And then Trevor Zegras got a 3-year, $5.75 million per year.
It was today,
deal.
right?
Yeah, today, a couple hours ago. He led the Ducks in scoring, 65 points. He's, uber talented American-born center, and it's going to be a lot of fun to watch this kid growing up. But good for him. So, lastly, I mean, we'll get through a couple. We're going to go through the teams and what we think about each team. But Chris Snow, I don't know if you guys saw this, but he was a sports writer turned NHL executive with Calgary Flames. He was the assistant GM. There's been a bunch of things written about him in terms of reports and articles, and he's a really good guy. He has ALS, or had ALS, because he unfortunately passed away yesterday. His wife and his family have been out there, and he was trying experimental drugs just so that they could see how it would work on him for future people. And just a really good guy. And something that changed the lives of a lot of people, and especially Calgary and that organization. So he passed away. I just wanted to note that he's, and obviously it's a tough day, and everyone's proud of him though, and the life he lived. And he's also an organ donor, which I ask if anyone wants to please be an organ donor. It's a really good thing out there in life to give somebody else, after you do pass, the chance at a better life. I highly recommend it. I am an organ donor, so. That's what I want to say briefly, Chris. No,
as am I.
It's a cool thing. Give somebody life if it can help.
I'm not using it anymore after I die.
Yeah, the only thing I want to keep is probably my eyes.
My decision.
I know it doesn't make sense. I want to keep my eyes. I don't know. I think that's the only thing I'd probably do. But
someone can take my flesh. It's
yeah,
colorful.
Yeah, skin graft of what you want toothless. You can have toothless on your belly if you have like a burn or something.
Oh yeah.
That'd be actually kind of cool if people did skin grafts of people's other tattoos. Like, yeah, this is some guy's tattoo for.
That'd be interesting.
It would be interesting. All right, NHL team previews. We do this every off season, right before the start of the league year. We will give you also our picks for Cup champs, division winners, and our awards, which always go over very well. I have our 2023 picks that I have right next door, which is an always fun thing to watch and look at.
At least I got half of the finals right.
You did get.
I almost got the entire finals right.
Yeah, Steven had Carolina and Dallas.
Yep,
almost.
And they both lost in the final.
Dallas winning. I had Toronto and Colorado. That was a bad choice.
Yep.
I mean, Shorts guy had Florida, which was fantastic, and Calgary, which didn't even make it. And Schwim had Calgary winning the championship. So don't follow Schwim.
Well done, Schwim. Worse than me.
well done.
Don't do what Schwim does.
Yeah. All right. 2022-2023 season. Obviously, Bruins had won the Atlantic Division. They will come first in our lovely season preview. All right, Bruins, right? Lost a ton of people, by the way, this offseason. Between Bergeron and Krejci, Trent Frederick's still there. They re-signed Swayman, but they lose Bertuzzi, they lose Orlov, they lose Hathaway, they lose Clinton. They add Milan Lucic, they add Van Riemsdyk, Morgan Geekie, Kevin Shattenkirk.
Problem solved.
Yeah, problem solved.
Lucic is back. Problem solved.
Their top line is Pavel Zacha, who Shorts guy knows all too well, Pasternak and Van Riemsdyk, with their second line being Marchand, Coyle, and DeBrusk.
New captain, Marchand.
Yeah, new captain. You got
Who would've thought you
McAvoy.
Who would have thought you can lick another player in the league and become captain one day?
Yeah, true.
Multiple times.
Lick and
Multiple
spit,
players.
do a bunch of things.
Kiss.
Yeah.
Whatever.
McAvoy, Lindholm still in the back end, and they have the Vezina winner Olmark as well as Swayman.
They got Jennings
Is
too,
this Jennings too?
Yes,
Is
they
this
did
a
get the
playoff
Jennings,
team?
yeah.
right? Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
I think so,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, you can look at them on paper and you say no, but it's it's Boston. They just have that culture of winning, and
They'll
figure out a
They'll
way.
find a way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll find a way.
I'm gonna say they don't make the playoffs this year. I think that
Old.
that's a lot to lose. You have
Yeah,
your best
ton to
player,
lose.
arguably,
Bergeron
in
alone. I think Bergeron alone.
huge loss.
Keep the rest of
Uh,
them. You lose Bergeron, and that team is not the same at all.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't see Zaka being a number one center. I don't see Coyles being a number two. Those guys are 3 and 4 centers. They're not ones and twos.
I don't know about 4. I think they're both 3s. Well,
They're
maybe
threes,
2.
Yeah. Yeah, Coyle is a 2.
Top 2. I would say tops. No, Coyle's a bona fide 3, and I would put maybe Zaka has the potential to be a 2, but
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Bertuzzi played well for them in the playoffs and regular season in the playoffs. Orlov was a shutdown defenseman for them. He was very good. Hathaway and Clifton, I don't really care. But losing Krejci, I think was a big. I think that they lose that depth, and that's a big.
yeah.
A
I mean, you
big
lose
shot to that.
number 1 and number 2 center is a big deal.
Yeah.
And then you don't
huge.
you don't replace them. You're replacing them by guys you already have. You're just kind of promoting guys to those roles.
They kind of bargain
strange,
baseball shop as well.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you don't really ever see you usually see these top lines built around a bona fide number 1 center, but they're going to depend on it being built around the wingers. Between Pasternak and Marchand, and it doesn't matter who the hell you throw in the center, they're just going to, get points by osmosis. Just give those guys the puck, and they'll do the rest.
Yeah.
We'll see how it works, I guess.
All right, second in the division last year, 111 points. Boston, by the way, had 135. They were a juggernaut last season.
They're not doing that.
Toronto,
again. They're not coming close.
Not happening. Toronto gets past the first round, beat Schwimm's Tampa Bay Lightning,
and we all saw it.
We
all saw it happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
They lose in the second to the Cup runner-ups in the Florida Panthers. Matthews, Marner, Tavares, Nylander, Nyes, Bertuzzi, Robertson, Domi, Yarncroc. I mean, the list goes on of very good players that they have. Their defense is still Riley, Brody, Jake McCabe, Klingberg, Giordano, Liljegren. Their goalie's still Samsonov with Justin Wall as the backup. Adding Bertuzzi and Domi gives them a little bit of oomph. I mean, these guys play with edge, some a little bit over the edge, Max Domi. They bring in Klingberg to kind of help with the power play. Ryan Reeves, whatever. They lose Ryan O'Reilly. They lose Luke Shen, Bunting, Achari, Alex Foote. Is this a legit cup contending team? Because their offense would show that, but their defense and goalie meh?
On paper, they should be, but I don't think they really are. I think that Toronto can't get out of Toronto's way a lot of times.
I still think it's one of the best rosters in the league.
Yeah.
Regardless.
They're moving William Nylander to center on the third line. Like, they're balancing offense.
Yeah. It's just they always Toronto will have a fantastic and Edmonton does something similar, except their defense and goaltending is worse, but Toronto finds a way to do really good and then screw it up in the playoffs. And yeah. I think they're just gonna do that again. It's they should be a cup contender with what they have, but something will happen, and they'll somehow screw it up for themselves again, and the misery. Yeah,
I still call them a cup contender though, just because of their woes that they always seem to have. They're still based on skill alone.
They should be.
And, the roster. I think they are a cup contender, but you can be a cup contender. It doesn't mean you're going to win it. So. I think they're a cup contender.
I think this is conference championship type team. I don't know if they make it to the cup final, but I'd have them in my conference championship. All right, let's go to the third team. Schwims.
Awkward
Tampa Bay
disagreement.
Lightning. Yeah, well, that's right. Schwims, Tampa Bay Lightning losing the first round to, like we said, the Toronto Maple Leafs. Hagel, Point, Cooch, Stammer, Sorelli. They lose one of Schwims' favorite players, Alex Killorn. Connor Sheary might fill in that role. We'll see. Tyler Mott's there. Austin Watson. Right now, Jonas Johansson is their starting goaltender.
He was widely, I think, described as the worst goalie in the NHL.
Yeah,
I think last year, maybe the year before, or something like that.
When Vasilevsky comes back after 2 to 3 months, we know who the number one is. But do they need someone before then to not lose ground? Do they need to go out and make a move for a goaltender?
I don't know what they can do to make a move for a goaltender unless they call up Vegas and try to get something out of them.
Well, could you call up Calgary and ask for Vladar? They have.
They could call up
and they
anyone,
have
really.
Markstrom.
Yeah, you can call
Well,
anyone.
the problem, and also you gotta remember, like, I don't think there's a team out there that needs to dish a goalie out. So
yeah,
Tampa is handcuffed with this because they really need something, and this is what happens when you have a workhorse like a Vasilevsky, where it doesn't matter who the backup is, because Vasilevsky is going to win most of his games that he plays. But if something like this happens, this is where you run into a little sticky situation. They made Louis Domingue look like a Vezina Trophy candidate. That those however many seasons ago that was, maybe 4 years or so. They're not the same team they were back then, but I think they absolutely do need an upgrade. I think it's gonna be very hard for them to upgrade, because I think if they're nabbing somebody off waivers or even trading for somebody, like they're not getting. Maybe they can. I mean, who's available? Halak maybe is available. I think he's still a free agent. But yeah, I mean,
somebody.
And whoever goes there, even if you go there as a free agent, that your time there is limited. It's not like you have a chance to even play for the starting role. Once Vasi's back. That's it. You're either going to get relegated to the backup, or you're just going to get sent down to the AHL. So what goaltender is going to want to go there, knowing that?
Well, they're it might not matter, because some of these goalies, they don't have a say whether or not they're traded. They just get traded.
Well, trade is a trade is different, but you got to assume that anyone that even gets traded there is going to want to trade out, and then they're going to have to make that move out. I can tell you,
I think they're in predicament.
Yeah,
I don't think there's much improvement they're going to find, to be completely honest.
No, I don't know who's. I mean, one free agent that is available and is willing to play for that short time period is Shorts guy. My phone is yet to. This guy
right over there.
My phone is not yet rung, but the line is open. I'm just waiting for that Tampa area code, whatever it is, to pop up on my phone.
For a seasoned vet.
Yeah, seasoned vet.
Yeah.
I'll come in at league minimum.
I think they're going to ride this out, and I think they're going to try to get their guys that they have now to battle to see who can take over. They have a good enough team where they don't need to specifically rely, although you're going to see how much they do rely on a goalie. It's kind of like when Shesterkin takes the night off, and then you see how much they rely on Shesterkin when the backup lets in like 5-6, whatever. It was the same with Tampa and Brian Elliott. I mean, how often were we seeing Brian Elliott let in like 5-6 goals? And sometimes he would still win, which was incredible. But it seemed like when Brian Elliott was playing, he was letting in at least four or five every single start that he had, or at least seemed that way. So yeah, it's troublesome, because the backup. It's obvious how important Vasilevsky is to the team, and the goalies they have in their system. I don't even know where I would rank them as far as the NHL goes, but it's quite low.
They haven't had to think about it, because Vasi.
Yeah, he's always been healthy, right? At least relatively healthy. Maybe he misses a game, 2 here or there, maybe a week, right? Maybe 2 weeks. But it's the beginning of the season. If they if they fall into a hole in these first 2-3 months, I mean, it can be tough sledding trying to get back because that's a pretty competitive division that they're in. So
Yeah. I really wish
I
Swan
don't
was
know.
here to talk about it.
Yeah, I did
To
too.
get
We'll
angry
talk
about
it
it?
next week. Right
Yeah,
before the
yeah,
season
basically just to
starts.
get angry about it.
All right, Florida Panthers. Barkov, Matthew Tkachuk, runner up to the MVP. They still have Reinert, Verhaeghe, Sam Bennett, Anton Lundell, Luosterainen, who I like as a third center, or third line winger with Lundell is pretty good player. Their defense is not very defense, right? It's very they don't play a lot of defense. Brandon Montour's offensively gifted. Ekblad, same thing. Forsling is okay. They have Kulikov. OEL, who they bring in, might be the worst defensive defenseman, even though he's not defensive, he's offensive defenseman. But he might be the worst
defenseman at defense.
At defense in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
and then
you got an argument, that's for sure.
Yeah, you have Bob, who played fantastic last year, especially in the playoffs. It sounds like Spencer Knight's going to be back.
Only the playoffs.
Only.
And not the final.
Yeah, not the final. It sounds like Spencer Knight's going to be back, and he's done some good things with with his health, and it seems like he's got his life fixed, and he'll come back and play some hockey. So that'd be a good thing for them too.
That I'm very glad about.
Yeah, me as well.
Is this another? I mean, could they legitimately be back in the Cup Finals?
No.
Maybe
they did last year, and they probably shouldn't have last year, but
it's mostly hot goalie and then some craziness from Matthew Tkachuk.
A hot team. Well, Matthew Tkachuk carried them up. Well, but the combo of the two. But yeah, I didn't obviously ever see that coming, and they barely made the playoffs. Like they didn't look good going into the playoffs, and yeah, I mean, I don't think they can repeat it, but stranger things have happened, like last year. But if I were to say, gun to my head, are they going to make the Cup final again? No, and I would say that I think they might even struggle to make the playoffs again.
Yeah, it's a matter of which Florida Panther team and which version of Bob shows up, because they were the same team that were going into the playoffs and they were out of it, and then all of a sudden they started to play really, really well, and they went into the playoffs and they were able to catch some teams by surprise. And Bob played out of his head.
Yep,
and you can say that. He was ridiculous, but let's not forget too that some of those games, especially against Carolina, one shot goes the other way and they're down in that series, and they don't have the momentum. So it's really a matter of which Florida Panthers team shows up. They could potentially sneak into the playoffs again. I'm with Steven. I don't think they're going to make the Cup final again, but like Steven said, it's who the hell knows? It's the only one who predicted them to actually win each round that they did was I was one of the few last year in our pool.
Wasn't me. Yeah. That's sure.
Was not me.
An idiot storyteller figured it out.
All right. One of the sneaky teams for this coming season, Buffalo Sabres. And I don't think really sneaky. I think they're going to start to see their due because they're a very good young team. And it really depends on the guy in net, Devon Levi. And they also have Pekka Ukko-Luukkonen. They have Eric Comrie, who might go on waivers. That's another guy that clearly Tampa could try to grab, is Eric Comrie if possible.
Good.
I think he's a good goaltender. Good. Wow. I didn't say he's great. He's better than Jonas Johansson.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing. Well, we won't get back into that.
Yeah.
Although I do think that he was considered the worst goalie in the league not too long ago.
Yeah, it was bad. But you have Skinner, Thompson, Tuck, who had a great season. Alex Tuck. Cousins
Did you say
is
Yef?
A very good number 2. What?
Did you say Yef Skinner?
No, I said Skinner, Thompson, Tuck.
I thought I heard Yef Skinner.
I didn't say
the
Yef
soft
anything.
J. The soft J came out again.
I could definitely say Jeff. Jeff. Cousins might be one of the best second line centers in the league.
We're in mid-season form with names in the first episode.
JJ's on the left wing. Casey Middlestat. You have Krebs, Jordan Greenway. And the defense, I think this might be the best top four in the league between Samuelson, Dahlin, Owen Power, and either Yoki Haru or Clifton.
Should have been named Max.
Should have been Max. But is this a playoff team? Do you think either these guys or the next team, which is Ottawa Senators, make the playoffs? One of these two.
Well, I mean, you could see a dip in both Florida and Tampa, right? Realistically, now Tampa in the goaltending situation, so it opens the door for these two teams to really, take advantage of shorthanded elite rosters, right? So it's.
I mean, Buffalo just missed it by
possible.
A point last year.
Yeah, well, they had a really hot run at the end there, so you have to be like, can that be maintained? I think his name's slipping my mind. Their coach.
Oh man, now I'm blanking.
I apologize for not remembering his name, but I think he's a very I'm saying he's a very good coach. I can't even remember his name, but I do think he's a very, very underrated coach, and I think he has the team.
Don Granato
playing. Don Granato. Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah. Anyway, I think they're going to make a valiant fight for it. I don't know that they're a lock. I think this is going to be very competitive for that top three, and not the wild card. And who knows with the wild card, both of them, both Ottawa and, that we'll get to, and Buffalo could make a solid run at a wild card spot. But I think one of them could potentially take a top three spot. Because you see, you have Boston, and Boston, who knows, right? I think Boston still probably will finish top three. And then, you had Tampa and Toronto and Florida, who you're like, okay, they're all going to be competing for the top three. Maybe one will get a wild card, but I don't see Florida being that strong, to be completely honest. I still think they're a good team. Toronto, I think, is a lock to finish top three.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Toronto's a lock. Boston will probably, do Boston things and still get in there. But yeah, I think that they can. And was it 17 years without winning a playoff round or something like that?
Or without being
10
in the playoffs, right?
10 or 11. I think it's 10 or 11 without being in the playoffs, but like 17 without winning a round, something like that. I could be off, but something like that.
I thought it was 17
I don't
without
know.
the playoffs.
No, it's not that much without the playoffs. It's that much without winning a playoff round. They're tops right now.
I'm pretty sure the Jets actually have the longest playoff drought in all major sports. Yeah, that's true. 12 seasons. So yeah, Buffalo was 10 seasons ago. Thank you. All right, Schwartz, quickly on Buffalo.
I think Buffalo can sneak in. I was just looking at their schedule while you guys were talking. They do play Tampa within the first 2 weeks of the season, so that could be a crucial 2 points going down the stretch.
Yeah,
they have to win, and they're also playing Ottawa early on in the season. So it's a matter of who they give the goaltending reins to, and if it's Devin Levi, can Devin Levi live up to the hype of what he could potentially be? But
I think
if
Buffalo
they want to
always has a really hot start too, right? Like
true.
really, like the past 3-4 years, they've been really good to start, and then they just off a cliff.
I think they have the same. They have a similar, not the same, but they have a similar trajectory to what the Devils have done. Kind of building up these young players, growing them together, bringing nucleus together. And if they gel together, I mean, they don't have the superstars like the Devils do, which is weird to say the Devils even have superstars because they don't normally. But I think with that young nucleus, and if they can get Devin Levi to become that goalie they hope, I think they can become a force. And if it's not this year, then I think next year they're in the playoffs. I think but I do think they have a better chance than Ottawa.
Yeah, well, let's talk about Ottawa. You have Kachuk, you have Stützle, Tarasenko, Batherson, Norris, Giroux. That top six is I mean, outside of Toronto, they might have the next best top six.
Solid.
Depth is okay. Pinto's a very good third line center. They have three outstanding, highly paid left shot defensemen: Shabbat, Chikrin, Sanderson, who just got paid. Korpisalo is going to be their goaltender with Forsberg as backup. We just talked about it that one of these two teams can make it. I was just going to say that we've never seen this podcast with Schwim not in the playoffs, and it would be a very funny and very entertaining. Yep, there's Sammy.
There he is.
Without the glasses is quite a sight to be seen. But yeah, not seeing Schwim in the playoffs would be very funny.
You got to
see.
unmute, Sam. You might want to unmute yourself if you're trying
How
to
do I
talk,
look?
Sam.
Do I sound okay?
Yeah,
Now
a
you
little
do.
light.
Now that you unmuted
little
yourself.
Do you hear static? Because I got to do 2
No.
football calls.
No
Yes,
static.
you do.
Yeah, no
Hopefully
static.
a third. Hopefully a third. No, you're good. You're
you
good.
want to see my the side here?
Let's do it.
Oh yeah.
I love that helmet. That is the best looking
Please-
helmet on a player I've ever
Please
seen.
tell me you're gonna wear that to American Whiskey one night.
Yeah, and I talked to Paul Marino. He says that John will give me a jersey with this.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
I like it a lot. Not bad.
Oh, it's just dropping
Mr.
in.
Sam
dropping
Wu
in.
behind the glass. He's the best. All right, last 2 teams in this division and teams we kind of think are going to be stinkers. Yeah, Detroit Red Wings. I mean, they're not stinkers. I shouldn't say that. Detroit Red Wings, who, last offseason, big spending spree. They bring in Alex DeBrincat this year. The other team being Montreal Canadiens, who we do think are trying to tank a little bit. I know that Martin St. Louis is a very good, he seemed to be a pretty good coach, seemed to get the team going, and he's not going to want to lose, but just the talent in that dressing room. Any chance Detroit could sneak up on a playoff spot with the DeBrincat?
Yeah,
I don't think so, because I think there's too many teams that are just. I understand that they're making some moves here and there and getting a little bit better here and there, but I don't see them. They're not making the significant moves of some of these other teams, and I don't think some of their younger guys are as talented or explosive as some of these other guys, like Ottawa and Buffalo. I think those guys will make a legitimate run, and those guys will, I think, certainly be competing for the wild card. You would think, and I don't think Detroit is in there. So Detroit's going to be, I think, comfortably out of the playoffs. Not a bottom dweller, but
like Larkin has the best players he's arguably played with the DeBrincat. Lucas Raymond's a very good player, and then Moritz Seider could be a Norris Trophy candidate or that kind of type of caliber defenseman. But yeah, I agree. I don't think that they're anywhere close to where they need to be. And their goaltending situation is right? Ville Husso, James Reimer.
Yeah. Yeah, they'll struggle to get near that wild card.
They'll be number
Maybe.
10. Number 10.
Number 10. I like
number
it.
10.
Montreal Canadiens, Suzuki's captain, Cole Caulfield, Kirby Dach. Outside of that, then it starts to get, Anderson, Newhook, Dvorak, Slafkovsky's supposed to be on that third line. Matheson, I don't think he really wanted to, necessarily be back. They have, Savard, Caden Gooley, good young player. Montembeault as their starting goaltender behind Jake Allen. Jake Allen behind Montembeault. This is a bottom 3 team, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're not going to do very well.
They appear to be fighting for the number 1 pick, I would say.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
All right.
As of now,
the fun division, the Metro, what we all represent. We'll do the West next week because we'll have some time. Metropolitan Division. Top team in the league last year, 113 points, just squeaked out the Devils, Carolina Hurricanes. They bring back essentially the same team that they had last year. They bring in Michael Bunting, who's going to play probably on the wing with Aho and Jarvis. You got Svech coming back off of injury with Kotkaniemi. Neckass, who was a very good player throughout the playoffs. I know Steve likes that. Jordan Stahl, they have that third line that played really well last year. Martinuk, Stahl, and Jesper Fost, who returned. Teravainen on the fourth line seems crazy to me, but that with Stefan Nason and Jack Drury. Slavin, Burns, Orlov, Pesci. Other than we talked about with Buffalo, this might be the next best defensive core. Your third pair is Brady Shea and then that piece of shit human being, Tony DeAngelo. But it's still a good pairing, hockey-wise. Goaltending, Anderson, Ronta.
Same thing as last year, basically.
is this the Cup favorite in the East?
Yeah, probably. I think they're probably the favorite to make it out of the East, I would say, based
Yes.
on, the success that they've been having and the fact that they bring, pretty much everything back. A lot of the same, but a better team than they had in the playoffs because, guys are healthy. Yeah, probably, I would say. I don't think there's a whole lot more to talk about with them. I mean, it seems like every year, except for the fact that every year it's like, okay, Carolina's going to go to the Cup, Carolina's going to go to the Cup final, and they just kind of never do. So, at some point, they don't, they're not Toronto where they're losing in the first round, but they're just kind of never getting there. And at some point, they kind of have to, right? So
They finally made it out of the second round last year. Finally, they made the conference finals.
Yeah, and they're picked by often. Often they're picked by guys to make it out of the East over the last, 4-5 seasons at least, right?
Yeah.
And they've done very well, but then something happens, and usually it looked like they just kind of fizzle out in the playoffs. But last year, they did look very good, but it you could tell that they definitely missed the guys that were injured, and they definitely would have helped. But yeah, I see them, competing to make it out of the East again, and probably will. Probably finish first in the East, I would think. But we'll see. That's my guess.
Yep. Shorts.
Yeah,
your biggest contender.
They'll
in the
take
division?
they'll take the Metro again, I believe, and they're a favorite for the East. It's we talk about them against Florida last year. They were, again, a bunch of those overtime games. They were one shot away from winning those games instead of losing. So, it just happened that it went Florida's way. So you can't really fault them on that. But yeah, I think they're going to be the team to beat in the East, and here's hoping that my team can do that.
Well, you guys lose to them, we lose to you, and then they lose to us. So it's a never-ending trifecta. So let's just hope that the Rangers play the Hurricanes, and then we know how that is going to go. But quickly, I think Carolina might have the best coach, arguably. I think I would still choose Tampa and Tampa's coach.
John Cooper.
Thank you, Sean Cooper. I would choose him first, but I think Brind'Amour is right up there with top 3 coaches in the NHL, and he makes a big difference. I think if they ever to lose him, they'd be in big trouble. All right, the New Jersey Devils.
Woo!
They lose, like you said, they lose to the Carolina Hurricanes in the second round. 112 points, an extremely good team. Hurts to say that. Oh, I got indigestion too. Jack Hughes, MVP contention. Jesper Bratt. I know it's Bratt. Toffoli. Timo Meyer, who's going to take a nosedive this year and really prove to be not worth what you guys paid for him. But Nico Hischier, very good number 2 center. I can't complain about him. Mercer looked really good. Even that third line with Palat, Holtz, possibly Holla. I mean, Short's guy, you can obviously tell me, how the lines are going to stack up. But defense, Dougie, Siegenthaler was good, right? Marino played very well. You have Ball, Miller, Luke Hughes. Your goaltending still Vanacek and Schmid. You didn't really go out and address that. I know. I think some fans are happy, some fans are not. Let's go. Give me your take on your team. Does Lindy Ruff get fired this year? And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, I can tell we're talking about. I can tell we're talking about my team because my James Dolan internet is dropping out, and I hate James Dolan. And even though I'm trying to tether with better internet, I hate James Dolan and I hate his New York Rangers. But so yeah, with my beloved New Jersey Devils, Stanley Cup champions, 24 and 25, back to back. You're
on. You're
Are
on,
we
buddy.
losing
I
him?
see you.
Yep,
I
yep.
can still
It's my
keep moving.
stupid James Dolan internet. Anyway,
maybe Sammy can help you.
no, Sam can't help because we battle this every Sunday night.
No one can help.
Stupid James Dolan. Anyway, so yeah, I think our forwards are incredibly deep, and I think we're going to have a fantastic top 12. I think our goaltending is going to be interesting with who's with the workload they're going to give both of these guys. I think this season is Akira Schmid's to prove that he can potentially take it from Vanacek in the future. I want to say that we may also see more of a split to see what Vanacek can do in the playoffs, going into it a little bit more rested, because there were a lot of games last year when there were a lot of games that Vanacek played fantastic, but he looked tired down the stretch, and then Schmid came in. But I know that I have confidence in both of these guys stepping into the net in any game, and we've seen Akira Schmid dig us out of holes that we shouldn't have dug out of last year.
Yeah.
Stupid James Dolan internet. It's our defense that our defense I worry about, because they're young, they're a little bit unproven, but
Paul Hughes,
yeah, I think that the Devils we're still an incredibly deep team, and I still love our chances, and I believe we've built a culture that's going to win. We've built a culture that's going to win for a couple years to come, despite much to your chagrin there, Billy Dean.
Yeah, I mean, Ray Wright says Devils really need to get a goaltender. I mean, if you're going to get someone like Hellebuck, it's going to cost you a lot. So I understand the reservations in not going after something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if they're not just going to pick up someone for the sake of picking up someone. I think that Fitzgerald has shown that he wants the right guy to come into this team if he's going to make the move. And my hope is that the coaching staff has an incredibly difficult decision for who to start in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a good thing to
That's my hope.
Have happen.
Both guys have proven they can do it. I think the big question mark with Schmid is, can he do it for a season versus the period of time that he got. But like I said, Cup champions in 24, Cup champions and 25 Cup champions. Back to back.
We'll see.
All right, Leo. Don't. No, Gibson. No to Gibson, Ray Leo.
Oh, Gibson.
Do not say that.
Hi, Ray. Hi, Ray.
Stevens guy.
That's not my. I mean, once upon a time he was my guy, but John Gibson is
not good.
Bad.
He's been bad.
He is bad, and you do not want to touch that at any moment now. Hellebuck's your guy. If you can get Hellebuck, I mean, you're gonna have to pay him. You're gonna have to pay him $10 million a year. He's gonna need Vasi money. Yeah. He's 29, right? Turning 29, something like that. So he's got years.
5-year deal.
So I mean, that is a number one bona fide top 3-4 goalie in the league.
Yeah.
And he will be, and he is so much better than what you have now. And I don't want to knock those two guys down. I think they did very admirably last year, and I think Schmid did very admirably against the Rangers. But I think both of them looked terrible against Carolina. I mean, they both got just smoked, which is a little discouraging, because you would kind of hope one of them would kind of look a little better than the other, but it just seemed like, you put one in, they get smoked. I didn't like the one got killed, let's put in the other one, he got killed, let's put in the other one, he got killed, and so on and so forth. I didn't think that was managed very well, but at that point, what can you do? But I think that's going to be, I think it can definitely be a crutch for the Devils this season, is goaltending. I personally, and granted, take everything I say with a grain of salt because I'm often wrong, but I'm going to give my opinion anyway. I think that much like the Boston situation, I think the Devils' goaltending situation was a little bit of an overachievement last year. I think as a whole, they were a little overachievement, kind of like the Rangers overachieved the season prior. Like, they shouldn't have made it as far as they did. The Devils, I don't necessarily think that they shouldn't have made it that far. They probably had more points than anyone projected them to get during the regular season. But I think they're going to be around there. Like, they're still going to be top 3 in the Metro. I don't know if they're going to get. I don't think they're going to match last year's points, but I think they're going to be top 3 in the Metro still. And but goaltending can, if goaltending collapses, which I'm not terribly confident in them, but of course I'm not a Devils fan. I think Vanacek has done well in his career, and that's about it. He's done well. He's a serviceable goaltender. Schmidt is unproven, and but if you have confidence in Schmidt, he needs to play. And
Yeah.
I don't even know that it needs to be straight 50-50, which I'm also not thrilled about with goalies. Also my opinion. For timeshare, usually you see about 60-40, something like that, 65-35, something along those lines, because you want that. You want to know who the guy is going into the playoffs, and you don't want a question mark. And they could both be doing very well, but it's like, who do you play here? Who do you play there? And you pull one, you start one over the other, and the confidence thing, and so on and so forth. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. And I think if they can go after Hellebuck, they're going to have to give up. They're going to have to give up assets, and quite a few. But
yeah.
And I'm not thrilled about getting a number one goaltender at the trade deadline. I think we were talking about this last year. Like, when was the last time that happened? Yeah. So
they need a season.
I don't disagree that Hellebuck on this team would make this team
elite. You would be bona fide elite.
Yeah,
I was going to say,
hands down.
He would make the team infinitely better. However, Fitzgerald's not the type. Yeah, but Fitzgerald's not the type to take something that's working and to move pieces just to bring in one. I don't think that's something Fitzgerald will do. And to top it off, that he's going to want Vasi money. We don't even have that space.
Yeah,
nor do I believe
that Fitzgerald.
Nor do I believe Fitzgerald will give a goaltender. I mean, not just a goaltender, but anyone that much money coming in, because Timo Meier is supposed to make 10, and he's not making 10. He's making 8.75 or something like that.
Thank God he's not making 10. Jeez, that would have been the overpayment of the century.
It's already going to be overpaid.
There's the Ranger fan.
Me and Steven.
Yeah,
but Steven, even you've said you don't think that he's.
I do. I agree. I think it's an overpayment, but we'll see how the season goes.
Guy.
And but one of the things that I want to finish up with before my James Dolan internet crashes again, talking about the best team in the league. I swear it's a James Dolan conspiracy. I hate him in my internet.
We can hear you.
Okay, good.
It's weird because it seems like it seems like it's crashing on your end, but you're smooth over here.
Yeah, you're fine.
There's no delays, stutters, anything.
So I'll just keep talking when it freezes. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to finish up with this. I agree, Steve. They overachieved last year, because I think last year at times they were the team that we got the backup goalies. They were the team that everyone underestimated, and by the time everyone realized, it was too late. This year, we're going to be seeing the top players and the top goalies for every single team. So it's going to be tough sledding for us going into the season. But this is what's going to prove whether or not we really are that team that we think we are and that we can be.
And you should be. You definitely should be.
We should be.
You should be.
Yeah.
I can only hope they pull a Rangers, and like last year, the Rangers had a rather. It wasn't as they were expecting a better year, right? And they had all these guys. They bring them in, and they expected more. And I'm hoping that's kind of what happens to the Devils. They take a step back.
Do you remember what I said? Do you remember quickly? Do you remember what I said when they lost in the conference finals? That I think it would have been better for them to lose in that first round of Pittsburgh than to make it to that conference finals and lose. Because that would have, it's the whole, we created a monster, the whole, Tampa thing, right? With the Columbus, whatever. If they lost in that first round, that would have lit a fire under their ass that they aren't as good as they think that they are.
Yeah.
I stand by that statement.
I don't disagree. I was just going to say, there's six. I think there's six goalies in the NHL that make a difference, and that's Igor, that's Hellebuck, that's Vasilevsky, that's Saros, that's Sorokin, and that's Ottinger. And if you have a chance to get one of those
Ottinger's getting there. He's getting there. I don't think he's there yet.
He's close,
but he's getting there.
He's the sixth guy, right? There's the top five, and then he's just that next guy. But I think if you get a chance to do it, you do it. It really does make that much of it. If you see the rest of the goaltending in the league, it's god awful. Like, there's maybe 10 guys that you're like, oh, okay, and then after that, it's just nosedive.
There's no way.
I'm a true bullet. I'm a true
there's no
believer
way-
that if you have the opportunity to get a guy like that, you just open your checkbook and you're like, here, come play
Yeah.
for us. But there's the argument that you've seen, Cup winners that don't have that goalie,
Yeah.
right? Like Vegas, Aiden Hill, who's probably going to be
Vegas.
Aiden Hill this season, right? And he's not going to be
Miami.
a cup winning Aiden
That
Hill.
team was
Miami,
really
yeah.
good, though.
So you see teams win without that type of goalie, but I don't know. I'm a believer that it gets you there.
Yeah, you
It
have
gets you
to
there.
have a top team. Your team around the goaltender has to be exceptional.
Lights out. Yeah. Over the cap, good in the playoffs. Over the cap, exceptionally in the playoffs.
Yes. Yeah. But like you talked about the two teams, Vegas was a really good team around their goaltender. Chicago, that was one of the better teams in
Ever.
in that whole time.
One of the better rosters ever. Yes.
But you look at some of the other teams that won. Obviously, we talk about Tampa. They have one of the best goaltenders.
Vasilevsky, yep.
I mean, maybe top 10 of all time. He's that good. You look at the LA Kings with Jonathan Quick when he was, in his heyday, and obviously go Brodeur and Waugh and all these guys. But all right, let's get to the third team in the division. New York Rangers finished last year with 100. Yeah.
Boo. Watch
I didn't do that
my
when you
internet
got
doesn't
up.
freeze here. My internet doesn't freeze here. Stupid.
107
James
points. Additions, they bring in a couple guys on 1-year deals, 800,000, Wheeler, Bonino, Pitlick, Gustafson, who's actually played really well, but Gustafson. They lose Patty Kane. He's having hip surgery. Who knows what he's going to do. Tarasenko goes to Ottawa. Mikkola in Florida. And then you got, obviously, Tyler Mott, who goes to Tampa. Offense has some star power. You still got Fox, Kreider, Panarin, Zibanejad. They drive that proverbial bus. We'll see how Trocheck does in his second season. Hedl stepping up. But the real questions, right, are Kaapo Kakko and Alexis Lafreniere. Kakko's already kind of developed into a top 6 solid winger, but Lafreniere's yet to take that step, and it's crucial for the Rangers to do something if he can, help drive the bus a little bit here. Ryan Lindgren's a steady top 2 defensive pair with Adam Fox. His metric numbers are off the charts. He's extremely good. That second pair of Miller and Trouba, they're kind of wild cards. Trouba, obviously, with his elbows, helps out a lot, but really, we need Keandre Miller to. No, I didn't get a chuckle on the elbows comment. Keandre Miller, obviously needs to come in and play very well and show that he can be a top 4 guy. Schneider's good in the back end, and like I said, Gustafson's played well in the offseason. We'll see how he does in the regular season. He has a pretty good rapport with the new coach with Laviolette. Obviously, Igor, top 5 goaltender. We've said it. Arguably top 2. Quickies is his backup now. Speak of the devil, and we'll see how he adjusts to being a backup. I have not. I need a player T. I'll let you guys go first. I have my comments on the Rangers, but from an outsider's perspective, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I'll keep it short, and then Short Sky cut it because I want to hear Short Sky talk. So I'll get mine out of the way. I think Wheeler. I think Drury did well for how little he had with his signings. No one besides Wheeler, obviously, but nobody else really, is a home run. But you can't complain. They all signed for league minimum. I do not like the Quick signing. I've said that to you a few times already.
Yeah.
I think Quick will legitimately lose them games this season. But Shesterkin's going to play a lot unless he gets hurt, and then you're in trouble. But I don't know. I think you're going to see a lot of the same as we have been. I don't think they're going to be any worse. I don't think they're going to be any better. I think they're still going to be around there, probably competing for probably somewhere based on how the Metro is kind of right now. They're probably going to be competing for the 2-3. I would think they should. They have the goal. Shesterkin's going to get them there. Barring an injury to him, that would be catastrophic for the Rangers. But I don't know. I don't think they got better. I think they just kind of came back.
Yeah. All right, Shorts.
All right, I'm going to take off my Devils fan hat for a moment, physically. Okay. So I'm going to give and try to give an honest opinion. I think the Rangers are going to be a pesky team, and I think they do have the capability to at least get to that 2-3 spot, like Steven said, because I don't think anyone's overtaking Carolina.
No.
Shesterkin is your team. Without Shesterkin, you're screwed.
Yeah.
And you better hope that Shesterkin does not get hurt with the workload he's had in the past couple of years and the workload he's probably going to be expected to have. You guys did bargain basement shop, and you got some decent pieces. And Laviolette, we'll see how he does after your Gallant experiment. But I think you're shooting for a 2-3 spot. Now let me put my Devils fan hat back on.
The real shorts guy has entered the game.
I wish nothing but terrible things on your team, Billy Dean. I love you, but I wish nothing but terrible things on your team. And I hope they languish in that 6-7 spot at the bottom of the league, so they don't get a good draft pick. And I hope they suck. Yeah, because the Rangers suck, and James Dolan and his internet sucks.
Yep, I like it. I mean, I only wish the best thing for your team too. So
exactly.
I think that coming to this season, everyone knows they're not a top 5 team like they were talked about last year. Top 5, top 6, whatever it was that they had them at.
Which I think benefits you. It benefits you.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I think this helps. I think this team can kind of go through the growing pains, learning Laviolette's new system, which is a little more defensive oriented. And they can come in and maybe come under the radar, get that 3rd spot in the division, and make some noise in the playoffs. Your goaltender gets hot, that can save you. They have, a top 2 defenseman in Adam Fox. Zibanejad's a very good number 1. Hedel, Trocheck number 2, 3. They're solid down the middle. It really depends on how these guys take the steps, whether it be Lafreniere or Kakko. And then I need to see more from Panarin in the playoffs. He's been a shell of himself when he gets into the tighter games. Same thing. Zibanejad actually last playoffs against the Devils had a horrific, remaining 5-6 games. He was real bad. And those guys need to step up. And if that doesn't happen, it's just going to happen what happened last year. So that's pretty much the team in a nutshell. They got some decent, players that can come in, Jones, some other guys if they need to. I think Gustafson's going to be pretty decent on the bottom 6. And, yeah, they can make a run if they get their act together, which, we'll see what happens. Islanders, I think we all kind of agree they're not a playoff team. Nope. I mean, Sorokin's the only reason. The Islanders are a worse version of the Rangers in that they have 0 offense and only rely on their goaltender.
And they're old.
Yeah.
And it's they have no desire to bring anyone in. It's just re-up everybody in the system forever. Give them max
8 years.
term.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. And guys who are just bottom pairing guys, bottom pair defensive guys, or bottom 6 offensive guys, throw 8-year contracts at them, whatever. And it's just, I don't understand the organization really. They're always there. They're a pain in the ass. Mainly their goaltender. Well, even Varlamov, he's no slouch. They have I think the best tandem in the league because you have Sorokin, who's as elite as anyone, and then Varlamov is probably the best backup / 1B that you can have. Although Sorokin is solidified, their guy. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah. I don't understand him. I don't know. I have no idea where to place them either. I don't know where they're going to be. I don't think they should be a playoff team, but they're going to be there. They're going to be floating around. At least the wild card, right?
Yeah.
They just always are. They're an anomaly. I don't know how, but yeah, I hope they're not.
Horvat getting a max deal when he shouldn't.
Yeah, I love Lou Lamoriello, but I think his time has passed. And,
yes. Yeah.
Aurelio agrees. I agree.
All right.
No
Pittsburgh
playoffs.
Penguins. Yeah, no playoffs. I think we all agree. I think Pittsburgh overtakes Islanders for that 4th spot. At least that's how I have it here. Pittsburgh brings in reigning Norris Trophy winner, not candidate, and Carlson. They have Graves, they have Letang, or they bring in Graves, Letang, Pedersen,
Pedersen.
and then bottom 6 is Joseph and Ruedel. Tristan Jarry is back in net, and
buddy.
Can't be as bad as he was last year, but still.
Oh, I'm just grateful for the backup position.
Yeah, Nedeljkovic, right?
I don't even care who. I don't care who it is. It's not the Smith.
I think it's Ned. I'm pretty sure it's Ned.
It's probably gonna be Nedeljkovic.
Your top 6 is
available.
Yeah. Top 6 is still awesome. They bring in Riley Smith, but Malkin, Rust, Raquel, Crosby, Gensel. Jeff Carter's still a top 9 forward.
Top 9? No, do not even speak that evil on this podcast ever again. Okay, he's not a top 9.
On Daily Faceoff, he's the 3rd line.
I don't care what they. No, he is 1,000% not.
With Lars Eller and Nylander, and then O'Connor.
Thank you, Ron Hextall.
4th line.
Thank you, Ron Hextall.
The gift that keeps on giving. Steve, I'll save you for last. I do think this is a playoff team. I think they're the 4th spot. I think they have 1 to 2 more runs in them. Yeah, I don't have confidence. I mean, Carlson's not going to have the same point total he did last year. That was ridiculous. And he's on a better team where he's not even going to be the first power play quarterback. It's going to be Letang.
Nope, he is.
Oh, he is? They bumped Letang off of it, or are they using two
Letang
defense?
they're using 2 defense.
So who got the bump? Who's
right
on
now, they had Gensel and Raquel. So they had Gensel and Raquel. So Gensel's hurt. So right now Raquel is there. So it's Malkin, Crosby, Raquel, Letang, and Carlson. And the question is, whether you keep Raquel there or, I mean, you sort of have to put Gensel there, but Raquel is he is a number 1 power play guy. So it's going to be tough, and they got some figuring out to do. So
okay.
Continue, and then I'll get into what I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is Jarry. He needs to have a bounce-back season, and I would think that he would, considering what he did last year, which was real bad. And DeSmith, same thing. I think they're a 4th spot. I think they're a comfortable playoff team that can, put it to the top team in the division and make it an interesting series. Shorts?
I think the Penguins can be that 4 team as well, the 4th spot. I think that Jarry and his glove are going to be the question mark.
Yeah, that's
Jarry
Matt Murray.
Matt Murray, but Jarry is.
Can they bring back Matt Murray?
Do you want to bring back Matt Murray?
I want to talk about that.
I would love
to talk about that.
Bring back Matt Murray.
I know
that
you
would. Be great from my view.
All
right, Steven. Sorry, short.
Tampa's trading for Matt Murray.
That'll be great. Oh my God, him and Mike Smith. They should have a dual tandem backup.
Oh my gosh.
1A, 1B.
No, I think the Penguins.
2A and
2B. 3A.
I think the Penguins are going to want to try to do well with Crosby's career coming. Not that it's ending this season, but with Crosby's career on the back 9, they're going to want to do everything they can to get him into the playoffs, because we saw playoffs without Crosby or Ovechkin last year, and I think you got a hell of a guy on your back 6 in Ryan Graves, and I wish we still had him.
Yeah, it was a big loss.
Yeah,
Steven.
So Dubas has come in and basically he undid almost everything that Hextall did, but the undoable task of doing something with Jeff Carter was just impossible. So here we are.
Bridge too far, but Bone Storm will take him.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We'll take him. So I think I'll try to keep this. Try not to ramble too much and keep it as short as possible. I think that the roster in itself, compared to last year, is infinitely improved. Their bottom 6 last year was atrocious. It was filled with just random players who didn't contribute anything at all. Nothing defensively, nothing offensively, just nothing. And I think the the acquisitions, you have a brand new third line, which I'm actually kind of excited about with Lars Eller, Drew O'Connor, and Matt Nieto. I'm a big fan of Lars Eller and Nieto. O'Connor's got
Pitlick
something
a
to
third
prove,
liner
but Pitlick is waived. So Pitlick is in
Oh,
Wilkes-Barre currently.
okay.
Also, fan favorite over there by the Devils, Ty Smith, was waived and unclaimed, so he's down in Wilkes-Barre
Yes, I
also.
saw that.
Yes,
Anyway,
he is.
going back, the fourth line should be interesting. Fourth line of Nolachari. I hope Jeff Carter gets scratched. That is my only saving grace right now, is if they manage to scratch him. That's not Sullivan's MO, but we'll see what happens. I
Yeah.
think Dubas has come in and he's asserted himself to have at least some sort of power, and I think Hextall just let whatever happened and didn't really care and didn't improve the whole Granlund thing. We won't get into that, but I think based on the roster, and you got 82 games out of Crosby, you got 82 games out of Malkin last year. I can't imagine that's going to happen again this year. I really, really hope it does, but I can't imagine that it will. But if you do, I think the top six is fantastic. They lost Zucker, that hurts, but Riley Smith is an outstanding player to acquire. Just an amazing acquisition. The first move by Dubas there. The acquisition of Carlson. The power play that I've watched so far has been just a complete disaster. So I'm hoping at some point they kind of figure that part out, because I think a quarterback with Erik Karlsson is something that they desperately needed. And then you got the 1-2. You're going to have Karlsson and Letang playing about a half hour each per night. The third pairing, in all honesty, especially on the right side, it doesn't even really matter who it is. You got probably Chad Ruedel there, who he might play 7-8 minutes a game, something like that, and you leave it up to the rest of them. And then the question goes to whether or not Ryan Graves and Marcus Pettersson can keep up with all the minutes that Letang and Karlsson are going to eat. Yeah. But the Pittsburgh team is, Joseph will be about the same, but Joseph can rotate in with the Petterssons, and probably not Graves. I see Graves as being able to eat up all those minutes. I think he's that good, and I really, really do like what I've seen with the pairing of Letang and Graves.
He did it with McCarr in Colorado.
Pettersson. Yeah, great. He's a complete, and he's got more offensive ability than people like to think. But before I go off on too much of a ramble here, what I see is a roster that's infinitely improved. So much of it, like you said, depends on Tristan Jarry. He needs to be, a top goaltender, and I think that he has the skill to do that. The problem last year was his health, and a lot of it was because he just flat out wasn't taking care of himself. And I know when Kyle Dubas came in and he visited him in his home in Edmonton, he flat out, laid out this program where he needs to take care of himself. He needs to, exercise and do whatever it is to they're not disclosing the injury. No one's ever going to disclose the injury, but apparently a lot of it is, behind the scenes, people talking this, that. They say that it is something that it's preventable and fixable, and if he has the right workout and discipline to really take care of himself. So whether or not he can do that and stay healthy and really live up to the skill that he has, I think he can certainly be at least good enough to get this team back in the playoffs. And I think they have the capability of being a 2-3. I don't think they're going to get there, but I think it's not completely crazy to think that they can finish 2-3 based on looking at the roster and health. Yeah. But I do think that they're back in the playoffs this year, and hopefully they can do a little damage. You make the playoffs. Who the heck knows what happens? They haven't won a first round since they won the cup. No. But
look at Florida
with the year after.
We'll go quick through these three. But yeah, I like Pittsburgh this year. I think they're back in it. We talked about Columbus, but just quick, Fantilli is going to be a good young player. Obviously, Kent Johnson, Boquist, Werenski is still a decent defenseman. They bring in Provorov and Severson, especially given Severson that deal. But that top
Sam's
line, Ryan A. Jenner, Johnny Hockey, Johnny Ham and Cheese. It's an interesting team. But let's go to the two bottom feeders. Is Philly definitely the worst in this division, or could Washington actually give them a run for the money?
Philly.
No,
I think
Philly's
Washington's
worse.
bad.
Yeah.
All right,
Philly.
Philly's worst. Okay.
Washington's
That's
bad.
fine.
Yeah.
Washington's bad, but Philly's worse.
Yeah.
Um,
And Columbus is
yeah,
probably
I
worse too. Columbus and Philly.
I guess,
Columbus and Philly are there, but
Yeah.
I honest to God, I still think Philly is just like straight tanking. I don't know when they're going to start to try to turn around, but
I mean, their top line's
They're not
Farabee,
good.
Frost, and Tippett. Like they're gonna probably trade Farabee at the deadline. Couturier's supposed to be back. He's been
and
gone
Ellis is
forever.
done,
Konechny.
right? Is he done? Is that it?
Ellis
Official?
is done. I'm pretty sure he is. Yeah. They have Sanheim, Ristolainen. That
Yeah.
was a bad signing.
Cam
Cam
yeah,
York's
there
gonna
was
be
the line and thing. Was that Hextall?
Cam York's.
No, he was
That
gone,
was
right?
Hextall. Oh no, he was gone. Cam York, good young defenseman. He's paired with Mark Stahl, who goes to Philly. And
Yeah, I forgot about
Hart
that.
with Cal Pedersen.
Yeah.
I-
Cal Pedersen.
I
is,
really-
I don't know.
I'm gonna be honest. At one point I was hoping Carter Hart would turn out to be a good goaltender because it would have been a great goaltender
Fun.
battle between him and Blackwood. We trade Blackwood
Yeah.
to San Jose
Blackwood.
and Carter Hart. You know what? Philly has a great history of doing, having great goaltenders and treating them like shit and then trading them and then they do well wherever it is they go. So it's in Carter Hart's best interest to get traded.
Tampa.
All right.
Tampa.
Actually,
There
Sam
you
needs
go.
to. Sam quickly. We're gonna get him on air in a second. He's post game. But yeah, I think we all agree that Washington and Philly are down in the dumps,
Bottom of the
worst in the
barrel.
division. And it's really just the Ovechkin show and his goal racking.
Pretty much.
Up.
Pretty much.
All right. I would say. So our beers quickly. Mine solid 4. Very good. The beer. And we
4,
will
love
obviously get next year. We'll do the next week we'll do the Western Conference as well as our picks, which are going to be fun. We'll wait till we get Sean back on that one. You guys all 4s? All right, Sam, you can hit it.
No, I
Sherman,
did.
take her home.
475.
Oh,
it's a 60. 475. Holy
All
crap!
right.
Hell yeah.
I didn't
you
say
say?
anything. I didn't say anything.
I thought you did. I thought you said your
I
hand.
said nothing.
Whoa.
I said nothing. Damn
Loud.
it, Billy Dean.
Take
Oh
us
my
home,
God.
Schwim.
Take us home,
Take us-
Schwim, you jerk. Go bake your brownies.
Yeah.
Oh man. What a
Make
start.
bacon on the beach.
What a freaking start.
Thanks, Dolan.
Yeah, Dolan.
Yeah.
I hate James
Hex
Dolan.
Dolan.
Yeah.